out. Just, I can't take it.
Oh, really?
Seriously.
Sam, come on, we can fit.
I'm taking the stairs.
Welcome to the Explosion Network spoiler review discussion of the third season of Glow, the gorgeous ladies of wrestling. You can, of course, watch this over at explosionnetwork.com or youtube.com/explosionnetwork, or if you'd rather just listen to it, it is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, whatever else. Just search for Explosion Network or review discussions by the Explosion Network. My name's Dylan Blight. Joining me, my wrestling partner, Ashley Hobley.
Tag team
partner, yeah. Someone Ashley Hobley.
Yep, there we go. Excited to be here to talk about Glow, the gorgeous ladies of wrestling.
Once you say it, it becomes very fun to say. I found. I'm quite enjoying it. All right, so let's jump into this with overall. How do you feel about the third season? Because I would say from general reaction, Twitter stuff I've seen, I've found most people, I'd say, have felt like, they're like, it's okay, So how do you feel about it?
Yeah, I think I'm in that boat. I think it's still good. It's still a good show, but it probably didn't have the leap from season 1 to season 2 that I felt like the show had. It kind of stayed at kind of around the same level. It felt like a lot of things were treading water at certain times, and because of it's such a large ensemble cast, there wasn't like through lines for the entire season. There were like character developments for a couple episodes, and then that character would disappear for a while. That sort of thing. Also, I enjoyed the change of setting. That was interesting, but it feels like, again, they're going to change that up again next season. So, yeah, overall, I enjoyed it. I really like the show still, but I don't think it was like standout. There wasn't anything standout about the season, I don't think. Interesting.
Because, yeah, I definitely feel like I'm on the outlier for this season, which is that I think it's the best season. It's my favorite season of the show. And that's because I feel like I've watched 2 seasons of a lot of character stuff being set up. And finally in the third season, I'm seeing a lot of it going somewhere. Like, I know like a lot of stories, they start a lot of stories in this, as well as I'd say they finish some or at least move some forward, especially with some characters like Sheila. For example. So it's like Sheila obviously has a big part in this story move forward. What are the girls that are in a relationship? I've got names here, but there's always too many fucking names to remember. Yolanda? No. Yes?
Yep, Yolanda and Arthi.
Oh, it's like, so they were set up, and this season does a lot of stuff with them, right? That's a lot of stuff going forward. What's the mother, the back problems, you know what I mean? So like she has stuff, and I feel like she's getting set up. The girl who's like actually the wrestler with the brothers and stuff, by the end of this I feel like her story is actually could go many ways, actually going places. Like I feel like for most of the characters I can be like, well, that was going somewhere, that's done something. Like it, the fact that Ruth and Debbie are actually talking this season, not just yelling at each other for the entire season, I also really, really enjoyed. So that made it a lot more enjoyable to watch. The show tackles a lot of interesting themes, but even like with Debbie, like her, how would you want to word it? I guess her, like she's growing old, and she, that one episode ends with her like throwing up in the toilet or whatever, like sticking her fingers down her throat, even after her and Ruth have that really nice conversation and whatever else. It's like
she's got like bulimia.
Yeah, it's like they're tackling.
But that's never explored. She does that one time and then.
Well, yeah, I feel like they're just going to go back to it. They set up her character to be going with this certain direction this season, and I feel like they have to go back to it next season.
I don't know. She seemed to be eating a lot on her dates with Tex.
Well, but she's eating, then going up to the hotel room and
maybe,
because that's exactly what she did.
I don't know. They're going back to that hotel room together.
Yeah, she's like, I'll get powder on my nose first.
Oh, so I need to go to the bathroom quickly.
Yeah,
spew.
Yeah, exactly.
Take a mint.
Yes.
And then back to the love making.
Yes, back to the love making. Then I feel like Ruth this season is somewhat sidelined, I guess, but I personally don't have any major problems with that, because I understand that Alison Brie is the star of the show and her character was like the first 2 seasons the main character, but at the same time I've always viewed Glow as an ensemble character piece, so the idea of sidelining the main character somewhat wasn't weird or off-putting to me. I'm like, okay, that's fine, like she's got here, she's doing what she needs to do, and then they kind of pick up her character more towards the end of the season with the whole acting stuff and what she's going through with her relationship and all these sorts of stuff, but they kind of do sideline her for the first half. But also, side note, Alison Brie does direct one of the episodes in the season, a really great episode.
She does.
The episode where what's Mark Maron's character? What's his name? Fuck, I can't remember what Mac Maron's. What the fuck?
Sam.
Sam, yeah. Where Sam you remember all the actors, but never any of the fucking characters. There's too many character names to remember. So with Sam and his daughter go off and do the whole thing, she directed that episode. For her directorial debut, I looked it up after. I was like, has she directed anything before? I was like, no, she hasn't. So I thought that was interesting. She did a great job. And then she obviously in that episode appears only in one scene where she's like asleep on the bed. So sidelined herself a bit there, but took on the directing duties. But yeah, and then obviously a big theme for this season, I would say, is obviously like LGBTQ plus like issues, hatred and whatever. Like that is the major storyline for if I had to pick one storyline, that's kind of like the major thing for this season. I feel like that was that had the most time, I feel. Because like they introduced to that character like on episode 3, 4 or whatever.
Episode 4, we're introduced to the drag performer Bobby Barnes.
Yes. And then that character intermingles with a bunch of different characters, back forth. Then the show the season ends with they got the Christmas episode, but the season's penultimate episode is, and the biggest moment of the whole season I found was obviously that big fundraiser thing where they it's lit on fire and whatever else. So and then everything they do between that and then also having the other girls kind of she says like, I'm not sure if I'm gay or whatever, and they have that's like a couple episode arc, and then by the end she's like willing to say like I am lesbian or I'm gay or whatever she says there at the Christmas thing. Like I feel like this season was very heavy on that stuff, and that was kind of like one of the main topics, if not one. But yeah, overall I would say that I enjoyed this season more than past ones because I found the character stuff more interesting because they actually had more time for it, which is moving on to like the main topic for this, and the reason I think a lot of people have problems with this season is that it doesn't have much wrestling. So,
I mean, yes, but I don't think that was the issue I had with it.
I
don't think there was a hell of a lot of wrestling in the last season either.
I feel like there was definitely more than in this season.
There was definitely more, but I mean, the setup of this season is they're performing the same thing every day as part of a Las Vegas show. So it makes sense that there's not much. It's pretty much based on the finale of last season is the show that they're putting on.
Yes,
like every day. So we don't really need to see that. What wrestling things they did were really cool because they did obviously the Freaky Friday episode. I thought that was really fun.
That was good.
Where everybody was playing each other's characters,
and they did really good at opposite characters. Even to the point that obviously the one who does the real stereotypical Asian character, what have you want to describe, like running, doing the full accent and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, are they going to address that? And they make it I'm so glad that they actually made it into, by the way, the episode following that, the camp one, that's probably one of, if not my favorite episode of the entire season, I'll say.
Yeah, it was pretty high on the list.
Yeah. So I was so glad they addressed that as well. But yeah, continue the Freaky Friday.
The Freaky Friday one. And then they also did the, at the end of the season, they did the Christmas story. So,
which was also
sort
great.
of riffing, which was also good. But that, I guess that kind of throws back to one of my favorite episodes of last season, where they just full on did a wrestling show crazy wrestling show for an hour with skits and stuff. So I think it's probably, those are the two best episodes, I think, off the top of my head. But I think they utilized the rest. They didn't need to put wrestling in every single episode. They used it sparingly, and I think that probably worked for them this season.
Well, I feel like a lot of people could have potentially gotten to this show because they're more interested in, because the first season was a lot of them learning how to wrestle, them choreographing scenes, them getting taught how to do stuff. Like it was a lot of behind the scenes of wrestling stuff, and this season doesn't have any of that. Second season did have that stuff as well. This season has no real behind the scenes wrestling stuff. There are a couple quick moments where they discuss like, oh, let's do this move or whatever, but it's like a 2-minute scene or whatever. There's not a lot of time devoted to it at all this season, because it's like they're all, as you said, they're doing the exact same show. They've got it down packed and they don't need to spend any time on it. So I find it, I'd say that not everyone, like you're saying it's not your major problem, but I would say for a lot of people, if the reason you got into the show is primarily your major interest is characters, whatever, don't care. I'm here because I love this. I love wrestling and I love this as like a behind the scenes thing of wrestling. Then I would understand how if you're watching this season, you're like, this isn't very good, because it's like that's not why you like it, I guess. Whereas
it's like if Friday Night Lights didn't do any football.
Friday Night Lights had literally zero football.
All your favorite characters were injured, so they just didn't.
Yeah, because that show kept up the mix.
Yeah,
all the way.
It was a perfect mix.
Yes.
Yeah.
Until the final thing, and even if you didn't give two shits about football, you could still watch it because it like was a good mix to the point where you could understand it enough, but then you're watching it for dramatic stuff as well. But I will shout out to one scene though when talking about how repetitive the repetitive the show is. They do that one fantastic scene where Alison Brie's sitting there taking her makeup off or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then everyone else.
How'd they do that?
Well, I presume they just got her to do it either. I presume that they could have.
Well, they would have shot her on a green screen.
Yeah, I was like, in my mind, I'm like, if I was to do it, I'm like, you put her on a green screen, and then either A, you're shooting it with a slow motion camera, or B, you're getting her to literally do it slowly. But these days, I suppose slow motion cameras are more accessible, and so potentially they just shot it with a really with a slow motion camera, because then when they speed up the footage behind and they can match without her becoming all choppy, or like they slow down normal sped footage or whatever. Either way, it looks really fucking cool, and the way
she wipes off the makeup, but you assume there's another layer of makeup, like for her plain face. So how they do that?
I don't know. It was very cool. It's like
it's a nice shot.
It's very, very cool, and it works to really nail home how, especially because it starts with her being like, oh, we're on to day 50 or something. Like it's rather low.
We're celebrating like show 100 or something.
Okay, yeah, and then when she gets back up and turns around after the scene, and she's like, day 200 or whatever. Like it's doubled in numbers or whatever. Yeah, so I thought that was really, really quite good. Yeah, it's not that I dislike the wrestling stuff, because the wrestling stuff is fine. But the reason I like this show so much, and the reason I prefer this, because the second season, honestly, I'm pretty sure I'm on record somewhere saying this, I struggled the first half of the second season. It wasn't that I hated it. I was just like, it never clicked for me as much. Yeah. And I had to, I dropped off it because something else came out, and I was like, oh, I'll watch this first and I'll come back to it. And then I never did I never came back and finished the second season until towards the end of last year. And I love the last half of that second season, because you get some more of the dramatic stuff. You get more the whole confrontation between Debbie and Ruth, and the hospital scene, and like that episode where she breaks the fucking leg, and like the hospital episode following that and all this stuff. That's my favorite stuff of that whole season. So to get another season that's primarily just all character stuff, like even
there was nothing like as good as that, is what I'm saying. I think
I don't know. I found I suppose it's just going to hit or miss for some people. I did find that episode, the second last one where the place was burnt down and they walk out and they see all the stuff spray painted and stuff. I thought that was quite hard hitting. Did you not think it was at least?
No, I think it was. But it also came out of nowhere. There wasn't a build up to it. You didn't feel any animosity for LGBTQ people in any of the episodes prior.
Not by any of our characters, but we only ever really see our characters, I guess.
Yeah. But then there's no build up for the audience. It just feels like a sudden thing that pops up out of nowhere. If you forgot, like I did for a second, that what time period it's set, then
how can you forget? Look at their fucking haircut and their clothes. They literally walk around here like everyone's got their socks over their jeans.
It was in a drag show. That could have been at any time.
Who knows what's going on? And I think that that stuff is important, and I would think would play an important part going forward, especially because this show. The other thing they continue on from the second season.
I don't know. They're leaving Las Vegas, so.
Well, another thing I love from the second season that they continue this season is the Bash stuff. Because obviously the last season it sets up the whole Bash is gay. It was his butler, right? In the second, yeah.
Well, they always hinted at it, but.
Yeah, they never really stuck it home until the second season, though. Like, especially towards that point or whatever. I would have to rewatch the first season, but from my memory, I don't remember. I don't remember the first season ever thinking, "Oh, Bash could be gay." Like, I don't remember them ever hinting at that in the first season. But yeah, once
butler or something died, and then it like hit him really hard.
And it hit him really hard. And they do it so well because you're like, "What? Why is he like? Was he really attached to his butler?" And like, were they really good friends? Like, how to fight? And then when it's kind of
really, really good friends.
Yes. And then when that's all revealed, that was and that's why it's like so sad, I guess, somewhat. You know, by the time he marries, what's his fake? The British chick by the end of Rhonda, whatever. By the end of the episode, Rhonda. She marries them, and but then once again, this season they continue that obviously, and they play it up in a bit. And I thought the Bash stuff with this season was really quite good as well.
That was probably the best story arc through the entire season.
Well, it's like it's not even a finished arc. It's like
no.
It's like he goes through the thing because it's very confusing to like at the start he's like I guess he's able to push himself forward a bit more, but then obviously towards the end he just cannot anymore or whatever, you know what I mean? And then I thought the episode where he comes home in quotation marks, they live in the fucking hotel or whatever. Anyway,
in a penthouse,
penthouse, yeah. When he comes home and then she's got that the gigolo or whatever the fuck there.
Yep.
I thought that was done really quite well, and then how he reacts afterwards and kind of stresses the fuck out and all that sort of stuff. So they're still continuing that, but so that Bash is great. But off the top of your head, who are your other favorite character stories from this season? What stands out to you then?
I guess Debbie's the other standout. She had a lot of different things happen to her throughout the season. I really liked Bobby Barnes. I think that was a really good character, and him connected with Sheila. I guess Sheila's the other one who had like a standout transformation, I guess. But I mean, if you burn your wig, I mean, that's a huge stop becoming a she-wolf person.
Yeah,
that's going to be a big thing. but yeah, a lot of the other characters had smaller, like episode or two arcs, and it was fine. I mean, I think it just depends on how much you cared about those characters previous, and I don't think they did enough building prior to make you care for like an episode or two. I did really enjoy the Tammy welfare queen episode. Obviously, she's struggling with her back issues. You really felt for her, but
I do because my fucking back. You know how
my back hurts.
You know how when she does that thing when she's standing in the shower, just like getting hot water on it because it feels so good.
Yeah,
I do that shit all the fucking time.
And then hot tub.
I'm like,
hot tub club.
Am I fucking old or what? Like, what is?
Yeah. No, apparently you need to see a doctor.
Yeah, well, no.
See, healthcare in America sucks for a while.
Yeah, well, true story. I honestly feel like nearly everyone, the only characters that get shafted, and I was trying to find their names because I can never remember their fucking names, the who play the old ladies in the show, you know what I mean? Those two. Even
they probably got more than I remember them ever getting.
Well, yeah, they do have a couple more scenes, like even at the campfire thing, they have because they discuss like switching roles and all that sort of stuff. So that episode, I feel like I get the most out of them ever. But even still, like amongst all of the characters, they're the only two that stand out as like they're the drag. And not that I dislike them, but it's like they're the excess. Every other character, I have a clear idea, and I'm enjoying where they're going, and they all have clear own personalities and stories and whatever else, but those two are just literally like, we need them sometimes for other bits and pieces of this show, but they're not important enough to ever give anything to. And we're 3 seasons in, and I'm gonna just put it out there now, they're never going to get anything of real substance. They're just going to continue to be like background characters or like mini side characters that aren't super interesting, I guess.
Also, the Viking girl, she's not going to get anything.
Oh yes, yeah, that's true. She won't get. Yeah, she won't get fuck up. Well, she was basically just Sheila's bodyguard. I don't know. What do you want to call it? Bodyguard? Something else like that? Yeah, I'm not sure. But
they hiked together. That was it.
Yeah, well, they did hike together. Yeah. Well, there's a few people who give a shout. I don't really know what direction to go. So Cherry first with the whole like
Again, that was another thing that got dealt with for a couple episodes, and then nothing happened with it. And then suddenly she developed a gambling problem. And then her husband came back.
Yeah, but it's you got to imagine this. There's long periods of time between this. They literally do the montage between episodes to show it's been 100 episodes. How many shows are they? They're doing one show a night, right?
I assume so.
Or 5 nights a week, I guess. Like they get
probably
2 days off or something, like Mondays and Tuesdays, probably.
Or 1 day off.
Yeah, something like that. So yeah, either way, it's like when they do that time gap and it goes up 100 episodes. With the cool thing we was just talking about, it's like, well, that's how many weeks later is that? 100 fucking episodes. That's 5, 10, 15. 20.
No, I mean, the start of that could have been a flashback.
No, don't give me that could have been a flashback. Jesus.
It could have been set prior to some of the other episodes or something, I don't know.
No, that would be fucking ridiculous. Yeah, I didn't mind.
Why? It's just showing the difference. That was the whole point. They're all excited about this.
Yeah, but why would they flash back to have a flash forward?
No, just to show the difference between 100 episodes. They were super excited having a cake about 100 shows, and then they get to the 200 show and they didn't even realize it was the 200 show.
Yeah. Well, because it's a fucking drag as well. But the Cherry thing, I liked how she, you know, she's a kid. She has that thing because at first the introduction of that ballet dancer or whatever she was, I was like, why is this character being introduced? Like, where are we going with this? But then obviously it's just all to set up it sends Debbie off on her. My butt's not big enough. Whatever, you know what I mean? Like her body issues. That's
the body issues that are addressed in that single episode.
She's done there, but then also the same character then introduces Cherry to the kid and the worried and the conversation about how the dancer has to destroy her body and all this sort of stuff. Like she's oh no, blah 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 blah. Yeah, I didn't mind the way that whole thing played out, especially by the end where the husband comes back in because it's like she says.
He comes in, he's like, I've got the solution to our problem.
Yeah.
Adoption.
Well, it's a good, like, she's you know, she's like, she's not against the kid. She just doesn't want, you know, and it's like, it is her body. But he's like, well, you should just give me a fucking baby. So how about,
I mean, he's not in the right, but still, for him to just pop out of nowhere.
Well, she missed him. He, you know,
he only came because it was a Christmas present.
Well, I don't know. I like them as a. I like
it was a nice moment, but when you think about it,
ho ho ho, have an adoption form for you. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Here's one I prepared earlier.
Yeah. And then I've got to talk about Sam, Mark Maron as well for a little bit because at the start of the season he feels kind of like, where's Sam going this season? Like what direction are we heading here? And I'll say for the most part he doesn't have a lot this season. I'd say a lot of what they do this season is to set up the next season primarily with him, which as I said I don't have a big problem with. Like this season does a lot with some characters and then other characters it sets up stuff. That's fine. There's 10 episodes for a lot of characters, whatever. But they obviously start kind of working on him towards the end of the season. The first half, they kind of like, and he starts working out and go do that for like 4 episodes and sit in the corner and don't have much else to do or whatever else. And then by the end of it, when he goes and his daughter writes this amazing script, which I'm still like, what is her movie about? They give us like literally no hint.
Sounds like The Breakfast Club mixed with something. Well,
I hope we find out because I'm hoping
it's about high school nerds
maybe
struggling to fit in. AV Club. I don't know.
John Hughes, eat your heart out.
Yeah. I mean, it was that time, so
I think that scene where because I really loved that scene, and it kind of just shows the kind of character is where he goes through that whole meeting as he's having this heart attack, gets out, walks it all the way down the street, says, "Can you please fuck off?" Gets into an argument with her, and no, like, because he has to get her out of there, whatever, and then collapses down the street. Can you call me an ambulance? Like, I'm dying. Like, it really just shows what
stubbornness.
Yeah, he's so unable to ask for help, appear weak in front of his family. Like, you know what I mean? I'm not exactly sure what the pinpointing, all of the above, possibly, I guess, you know, like for his own daughter. I just found that quite interesting. And then obviously sleeps in the hospital, walks back in the next day. She's like, "Where the fuck was you?" He's like, "I can do what I want." Like, he's still just being a real asshole about it because that's his protective shell, you know, like he's got to kind of keep her at hand's breadth a little bit. But then straight away, it's like straight back into drinking, and you're like, oh, is this show going to end with him fucking dying? Like, is that what is that where we're heading with this? I don't really want to go there, but yeah, I enjoyed what the setup there. We got less of Justine this season because she was only in like 3 episodes total or something like that. I presume we'd get more of her next season though. So
well, you'd assume so.
Hey,
it depends on how long the time jump is between
seasons
here and where they go next season.
So
whether they're shooting the movie or whatever.
Well, let's do that before we wrap up here.
They've been building this Ruth Sam thing for ages.
Yes.
I really enjoyed the scene they had in that hot tub earlier in the year where he pretty much says, "I'm in love with you. You know I'm in love with you. You just make it really difficult for me." I thought that was really one of the stronger performances from Mark Maron this season. And then for them to hook up for 5 minutes, you think they're going to end up together, and for it to blow up and was kind of devastating. Kind of felt kind of a little cheap. I don't know. I'm not sure how... It's still a few weeks later. I'm not exactly sure how I feel about it.
Well, who do you put at blame for that? Him for opening his mouth, or her for spitting?
Him for telling the truth, or her for getting angry?
Yes.
I feel like her for getting angry.
You heard it here first, ladies. Ash hates women.
Yeah. I mean, he was trying to be honest. He didn't do anything wrong. I
mean, they're both got major problems. Let's be honest.
I mean, they would be terrible together, but that's
yeah. I can't picture them together. So, but also I can't picture her with Camera Boy. I'm like,
well, they're barely together.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. But like, even when they hooked up last season, I was like, what? No, like, maybe it's just, I don't know if it's just it's either a character thing, but maybe then it's also like this guy and Alison Brie. Like, I'm looking at it, but I don't buy it. You know, like can't get into it.
Fun fact: that guy's a writer on the show.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Fucking hell, they save money. Let's cast you in 2 roles. Write the shit and fucking play a role. He's like, and then I kiss Alison Brie and become her boyfriend. How's that work, writer's room?
He wrote that episode that she directed. So funny coincidence.
Interesting. All the trivia's sitting here. Yeah. So where do you reckon the 4th season's going to go then? What are we doing? Where's the show heading?
They're going to do a show that's not called the Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling on this television network that Bash has bought all of a sudden.
Which I loved how, by the way, side note on that is I loved how Debbie fucked over that cowboy dude to steal away that thing. I mean, I didn't hate him, but at the same time I was like, I kind of like how, because I was kind of liking him, but then he did that one thing where she gave him a bit of advice, and then you could tell he got all like, listen, I'm the business, you know, you don't know more than me, you're my girlfriend, just shut up. Like, up until that point, they make him really nice, but then when he does that, it kind of hints at this kind of sexist,
a little bit
sexist, misogynist like mentality he has there, whatever way you want to put it. So I like how then she comes back and it's like, well, you know what? I am fucking smarter than you, and I'm fucking stealing this shit.
Take this deal?
Yeah. Steal your fucking deal. Yeah,
I enjoyed how she was discussing this deal with Bash while he's terribly drunk and they've got to do the show at the same time.
And he comes out.
That was a good bit.
He gets. I like the little touch on that scene. Is they're discussing it. They get wheeled out to the line. He's like, "Oh, mummy," or whatever character he's playing on this thing. And then you hear him subtly as it's being wheeled away. He's like, "Did I do good?" Something along those lines. Yeah, sometimes I'm like these. I don't know how subtle these lines are because I watch this shit with headphones on. So often I'm like,
yeah,
do you hear that? Unless you don't have headphones on, like, is it that subtle? But he's like, did I do a good job? Yeah. So they're going TV show next season. What else?
I mean, yeah. I don't know what's gonna happen.
Who's on them?
Is Carmen gonna come back?
Yeah.
Is Ruth gonna show up? I don't know.
That's the thing. Do you reckon Ruth even does it?
Yeah.
Yeah?
She's the star of the Alison Brie the Star show. Yeah, I feel like she gets coerced back in.
Yeah. Because I was like...
Maybe not into just directing, but,
I don't reckon they all need to be in the same spot for the next season, though. Especially if we're going to be following Sam and Justine filming a movie at the same time.
Yeah.
And then how do they link that in? Like, does Sam come back? Do they need wrestlers in the movie and they ask them all to come
they're
over?
in the same city.
Yeah. I guess like
maybe Debbie can't get Ruth to direct, so she gets Sam.
Maybe Sam. Yeah, I mean that would be fucking a major move, but that would be interesting. And then how do you feel about how much longer we have left in this show? How many seasons do you reckon they can pull this thing for?
4. I think this next season is probably the last season. Unless they pull a reveal at the end, but I don't know.
How much longer
It feels like it's heading towards the end.
Yeah. I'm kind of on the same path. I'm like, okay, next season, we're running a TV network, doing a show. There's certain character storylines to finish up, sure. But they started finishing up some this season, like Sheila's review. Like they start moving things along.
Sheila can do anything from here. I mean,
yeah, I guess. Like if the next season is the last one, then I'd say they're surely only 5. You know what I mean? Like if it's not 4, it's 5. I really cannot see it being stretched much longer than that amount of time, honestly. Yeah. All right.
Maybe 10 episodes is not enough to destroy a television network.
They can try. We'll find out.
They'll try.
Next year on Netflix.
Last thing, Gina Davis looked super impressive in that showgirl outfit in the second last episode.
Oh yeah, fucking yeah. Forgot. And I wonder how old is she, by the way? I don't know if I can fucking find her here fast enough. Oh yeah, there she is. Let's do it on the go. Like how old is Gina Davis? Want to guess?
63.
63. Holy fuck. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. Yeah. Good on you, Gina Davis. You know what I'm saying? Wink.
Yep.
All right. Thank you for joining us on this review discussion. Make sure you give the video a like if you're watching it on youtube.com/Explosion Network and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. You can follow me on Twitter at Vivaladil, Vivaladil. You can follow Ash on Twitter at Ashley Hobley, ASHLEYHOBLEY. And you can follow the Explosion Network at Explosion Pod and check out explosionnetwork.com for all our reviews, news, videos, other podcasts, including What Do You Want to Watch, movies, TV, and media podcast that comes out every fortnight. And you can find that on all podcast services as well. And if you have any thoughts about anything we've talked about today on this episode, drop them in the comments below and answer the question, where would you rank the 3rd season? Do you think it's the worst one? Do you think it's the best one like me? How do you feel? Let us know. Or you can tweet your thoughts at us as well, of course. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye.